Shakespeare is one of the most famous and prolific writers of English. His legacy is endless, but what do we know about Shakespeare and the world he lived in? Not much. This video will be about fashion in England during Shakespeare's lifetime. The 16th and 17th century was one of the most extravagant periods in all of costume history, and one of the first periods in which modern ideas of fashion influenced what people wear. Powerful kings and queens such as Elizabeth I believed that one of the ways that they could display their power was through their clothing. This era had its own customs and social rules that were reflected in
Wool
their
production
fashion. In England allowed for the creation of rich fabrics and luxurious clothing. The rich were elaborate at representing what they could afford, while peasants dressed plainly and could be easily identified by their attire. During this era, Elizabeth created some Petare laws. These laws attempted to restrict dress code, protect fortunes, and make close observations between levels of society. There were restrictions in silk. Silk was only allowed for queens and kings and their family members. Velvet was just for the dukes. And gold was reserved for knights, dukes, and marquises. Upper-class women clothing was heavy, complex, and restricted movement. Women of lower classes wore much less restrictive styles and much looser corsets. The basic garments worn by men were hoses and breeches for the lower body and a padded overshirt with attached sleeves for the upper body. Peasants such as laborers wore straight or loose-fitting trousers that reached mid-calf. Color was restricted depending on social status. Lower class were only allowed to use brown, beige, yellow, orange, green, gray, and blue. Children were dressed in clothing very similar to their parents. Both boys and girls wore dresses during their infancy. As the centuries passed, fashion has evolved. People dress to celebrate their individuality and a way to express themselves.